welcome to another edition of The Daily. I'm Samantha Yarock here with Nick Firchau. And well, Nick, U.S. Open Cup semis are tonight. We have Chicago Fire taking on DC United, followed by RSL taking on Portland Timbers. So break them down.
Yeah, it's sort of interesting the way it shook out this year in the tournaments. An all-Eastern Conference semifinal, and then in the nightcap, an all-Western Conference semifinal. We'll start out in Chicago in the early game. The Fire have a great tradition in this tournament. They've been to the final 6 times. They've won it 4 times, but not since 2006, and you have to assume they're eager to get that title back. Head coach of the Chicago Fire, Frank Klopas, won a title with this club back in the day, so very eager to get another trophy in the case. They go up against a DC United team who obviously has struggled much of the season despite a recent win over the Montreal Impact. You're probably going to see Dwayne De Rosario with Luis Silva up top for DC, which has been a good combination for them, and Dwayne De Rosario has played very well in this Open Cup, but in the long run, I think Mike McGee and just the talent that the Chicago Fire have will probably push them over the edge, push them into the final. Now, you could make an argument that the more enticing matchup is the nightcap, considering Real Salt Lake and the Portland Timbers haven't played each other this year. They don't know exactly what each other look like, and they're 2 of the best teams in the league right now. For Jason Kreis and Garth Lagerwey, the guys behind the scenes for Real Salt Lake, this tournament means everything to them. And on the flip side, Caleb Porter and Merritt Paulson for Portland, they've put a lot of stress on this tournament. The underlying subplot of this is Will Johnson going back to Real Salt Lake's home grounds out there at Rio Tinto Stadium. Will Johnson, now the captain of the Portland Timbers. He was a sort of an also-ran, a blue-collar hero for RSL. Now he's an all-star. He's in the MVP race. He's going up against RSL for the first time in his career. I have to assume, given the home field advantage, RSL has the edge here, but really it's a crapshoot. It's maybe the best game of the year so far.
Well, you can catch both these games tonight. Chicago Fire versus DC United at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on chicago-fire.com, and the RSL versus Portland Timbers game at 9:30 p.m. Eastern on ussoccer.com. And Nick, one bit of good news that we haven't mentioned yet: the Timbers have reached a multi-year contract with Diego Valeri, purchasing his rights, so he is here to stay. You can hear more about that story on MLSsoccer.com. Well, CONCACAF Champions League has begun, and tonight we see the first set of MLS teams entering the tournament. We will see Montreal taking on San Jose, and then we have Sporting Kansas City in the nightcap. But Nick, very rare to see 2 MLS teams in that same group facing each other. What are you expecting?
Yeah, it is rare to see 2 teams go at it against one another. Montreal won the Canadian Championship earlier this year, and the Quakes are here because they won the Supporters' Shield last year. These 2 teams have actually met in the MLS regular season, a draw earlier this season with a very good game out west in San Jose. Montreal comes into this game frustrated a little bit, especially lately. They had that loss against DC United over the week that was a little bit humbling. And on the other side of the coin, the San Jose Earthquakes have played very well lately. They've won 3 straight games. Chris Wondolowski with 2 goals his last time out, so he's picking up a little bit of his form. The question, though, is which guys are going to play, because different teams take the CONCACAF Champions League seriously in different ways, and whether or not they're going to use their starters or some of their B team guys, that's going to come into play as this tournament unfolds. Montreal at home against San Jose, you'd have to think they'd have the advantage, but you never know at this point. In the nightcap, Kansas City, they're at Real Estelí, which is a Nicaraguan side that a lot of people might not be familiar with unless you've followed the tournament over the last couple of years. Kansas City is one of the favorites, I think, in this tournament, especially among MLS fans, given their talent and their depth. You're not going to see a lot of players, though, in this game on the road in Nicaragua, and they turn around and go back to league action on Saturday, but it should be a good start. If they can go down there and get a draw or better, it's a great start for Kansas City in the tournament.
All right, well, you can catch both those games tonight on Fox Soccer Plus. First game, San Jose Montreal at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then the Sporting Kansas City Real Estelí game at 10 p.m. Eastern. Clint Dempsey watch still in full effect. He missed practice yesterday, putting into question whether he will be making his Sounders debut on Saturday against Toronto.
Yeah, it didn't work out Tuesday because he's got a virus, and that's completely understood considering the travel demands that have been put on him over the last few days and all the public relations demands that he's had to do. Go out and meet the media. You heard he had a hoarse voice when he came out and met the media on Monday. So Sigi Schmidt, the head coach of the Seattle Sounders, saying he expects Clint to travel, expect him to see some minutes, but it's sort of wait and see over these next few days. He does not expect, however, for Clint Dempsey to play 90 minutes. People forget he's still in preseason form. Everybody in MLS is in midseason form. Clint Dempsey's not quite there yet, so you're not going to see him for 90 minutes on Saturday against Toronto. You might see him for 90 minutes on August 25th. That's when the Sounders take on the Portland Timbers. That's set to be his home debut, and now we're talking about more than 66,000 people attending that game. Could be the biggest regular season game in league history in terms of attendance. Not a surprise considering the Sounders set this mark every year and they're looking to pack the house as much as they can on August 25th.
Well, that's all we have for the Daily today. Be sure to tune in to MLSsoccer.com for more on all of these stories, and we'll be back tomorrow.